Hey everyone, so when you have your center blocks done, then it's time to move on. Hey everyone, Cristin here, and yesterday we worked on the center blocks for our May Cuties. So once you have that done, then it's time to move on, and it's going to be a really easy day. So we're going to work on the inner borders. So grab your packet for the inner borders. The inner borders are on page 40, and it's just a very, very simple day. And actually, I noticed in the book that we're going to use the same quilting and the same technique as we did last month for April. So I'm going to just copy and paste from that tutorial, the brilliance part of that tutorial. So really easy day for me for editing too. I'm kind of excited about that. So, all right, so let's talk about our inner borders. They are on page 40 of our book. And I mentioned in the prep video that I highly recommend cutting the strips a little bit longer than what is mentioned in the book. It's up to you, but I think it's easier to have them be a little bit longer and then cut them down in assembly, just in case the stitching pulls the block in a little bit or the strips in a little bit, or anything. You know, you just don't want it to be too short. I've had it happen and it's not fun. So I always now cut them just a little bit longer. So in the book, there's two for A and two for B. All right, 2 strips for inner border A, and then 2 strips for inner border B. And the first one, it says 1 3/4 by 10.5, and my recommendation is 1 3/4 by 12. And again, totally up to you, whatever works for you. And if you already cut before you saw the prep video, then you'll make it work. It's not a huge big deal. It gives you a little bit of leeway, a little bit of error proof, right? So 1 3/4 by 10.5 or 1 3/4 by 12 is my recommendation, and that's 2 pieces. That's for inner border A. And then for inner border B, in the book it says 1 3/4 by 13, and I did 1 3/4 by 15. So 2 strips, 1 3/4 by 15 is my recommendation, just to give you that little bit of error zone, just in case it pulls in from the stitching or anything like that. So 1 3/4 by 13 or 1 3/4 by 15, preferably for inner border B. And that's it. Those are the only fabrics that we need today. And then we have our batting. So same thing, we've got an A and a B. And on the batting, you want to cut these exactly to what you need. And I'll show you, I'm going to add them onto our strips before we even start quilting them, just so that we can skip those first 2 steps. It makes it a little bit easier, but you do need to have your batting the exact right size so that it will not be in your seams. All right, and if it does end up in your seams, it is not world ending. Don't worry, it's not that big of a deal, but preferably if you can have seams that don't have batting in them, that reduces the bulk. All right, so for your inner boarding, for your inner border batting, it's gonna be 1 1/4 by 10 for the first 2, 1 1/4 by 10. All right, for those first 2 strips, 1 1/4 by 10. And then for the inner border B batting strips, it's gonna be 1 1/4 by 12.5. 1 1/4 by 12.5. All right, and the other thing I recommend is when you're putting the batting onto your fabric strips, I use a glue stick. You can use that fabric spray if you prefer. I find that messy, and it's not my preferred, so I use the glue stick. I will add a link to the glue sticks that work really well here. Amazon ships them super quick, and you get the big thick glue sticks that are cost effective because you get a lot of glue in them. But what I recommend is when you're putting them onto your strips and you're pushing them down, it kind of makes the batting grow a little bit. And so you want to make sure to check again right before you get to the end so that you've got exactly 12.5. You don't want it going longer into your seams. And that's all we need for today. Let me tell you about the quilting. It's same as last month, so that makes it easy. So inner border, we're going to use border orange peel 1-inch design. Border orange peel. And like I said, we used that last month for April, and so if you join me for April, you've already got that file. You have that file saved. Hopefully you remember where you saved it. I saved mine in my embroidery files. So I'm just going to pull that up and run with it and be done super quick today. Maybe even start filming tomorrow. That would be really good. Get ahead of the game. But for you, if you did not do April, I will include the tutorial on how to create more in one hooping. I believe I did 4 in 1 hooping. I think I used a 10 by 10 hoop if I recall. I'm not sure, but anyway, it will be in the tutorial so that you can go step by step, or you can bypass it if you've already got the file from last month, and then you'll have a quick, easy day. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer now, and I'm just going to quickly run through how to merge the different design files together for inner borders, for the 4 inner borders. So I'm going to open up Brilliance Essentials, and what are we on? We are on an 8 by 12 hoop. Let's try that actually. I don't know if the 12.5 would fit on here. I do want the full 12.5 inch quilting, as I mentioned, and so I'm going to see if that will fit. I don't think it will, but let's try. So you can always see your hoop size right down here. I'm going to go to the, well, actually I'm going to leave. If you're not on the hoop size you want, you go to this preferences folder. I'm pretty sure we'll have to change this anyway, but anyway, preferences folder, and then choose the hoop size you want and say okay. And then you can go to this compass button and hit H to zoom into the hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the first quilting design. It's asking where is the file that you want on your computer, and I have mine on Cuties right there. Cuties table topper with My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop, and embroidery files and quilting bundles. So I'm going to open up the quilting bundle and the Cuties bundle embroidery files. Pez is what I use for my machine, and then we want April. I want the inner borders. Let's see. If I recall, it's set on here. The inner border orange peel 1 inch design. So right there, orange peels and circles. So it's the 4th folder down, orange peels and circles. And 1 by 10 orange peel. Oh, look at that's fun. All right, but I want to use the 12. I want to try out the 14. I'm going to try out the 14 because it comes out as 12 and 5/8, and so I want the full length. So I'm going to try that and see if it will fit. You can see right here it automatically turned red, so that means it does not fit. If I zoom out, you can see it's quite a bit too large for my 8 by 12 hoop. That's funny. So it's 13 3/4. This is the 14. I think I gave the wrong information. I thought it was 12.5. 1 by 14. Oh, so there it's different on them. So because on the earlier one, so I must have written this down for January and it was a different size. So this one is 13 3/4. So definitely too large. It's also larger than we need. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. And I'm going to try out the 12 and find out what the 12 is. Let's see. Orange peels and circles. There's the 1 by 12. Double click on that. And that one is 1 3/4 by 11 1/8. So that's too short. That's basic. That is what I have. I have the 1 by 12 is 1 3/4 by 11, but the 1 by 14 is larger than the other one we did before. So either way, I want the 1 by 14. So that means I'm going to delete this 12, and I'm going to change my hoop size to a 9 by 14, and I'm going to click on this compass button, click H, and then I'm going to bring in the 1 by 14 design. Let's see, 4th folder down, orange peels 1 by 14 right there. All right, and this one, like I said, is 1 3/4 by 13 3/4. So it's larger than the other one we used before. So that is a really cool design. That's really good for our this specific design because we're working on this orange peel. That's pretty fun. All right, so before, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do all 4. Like I mentioned, you could do the 1 by 12 for the first 2 that are shorter because we only need 10 inches of quilting. But if we do all the same one, it's just going to run off on the stabilizer. And the nice thing is we don't have so many different ones to make as far as changing the colors and all of that. We can just do one and copy and paste and do all of them. But you do you, however you want to do it. If you want to use the 1x12 and change those colors, it only takes a minute. Do whatever you want. I'm going to do it on this first one. So I'm going to click on this plus sign to open it, and this 1, click on the color. And the first color that comes up is dark aqua. And then for 1, 2, click on the color. The first color that comes up is blaze. 1, 3, click on the color. And we already used dark aqua, so we'll use marine. And 1, 4, click on the color. And notice it's yellow and instead of the orange. You could actually leave this. So I'm going to leave it actually, because I'm going to do all of the that we want this to join anyway. So this is totally fine. So I forgot to mention, since we're taking out those first 2 steps, you actually don't need to change any of the colors because you could delete these first 2 steps. You would just click the delete button on your keyboard and you're good to go on step 1 and step 2, as long as you are adding on the batting to your border strips like I'm going to. I'm going to leave it in here just so I remember to tell everyone to bypass it for those that didn't delete it. But you could absolutely delete the first 2 and then you don't need to change any colors. Easy peasy. All right, up to you, however you want to do it. So the quilting, this 4th one, there's no other Jubilee, so I don't need to worry about that. And on the quilting design, all 4 of them are going to have the same thread color, so that doesn't need to be changed. So it's really only one of the first 2 that needs to be changed, and you don't need to do it if you're going to delete them. I hope that makes sense. All right, I am going to just move this over to the edge here, all the way over, and I'm going to do a copy, Control C to copy, and Control V like victory to paste. And you can see it made another one. It's right on top of the first one. I'm going to take it and I'm just going to haphazardly move it over. And then I'm going to do another Control V like victory to paste a 3rd one and bring that over here. And then another Control V to have the 4th one. All right, and that's why I was thinking I'm just going to do all 4 the same size. It's just easy. But you can do it however you want to do it. You know how. All right, so now I'm going to just close these design files, and I'm going to click down from the bottom and drag up so that I have all 4 designs. And then I am going to go to Utility right here, Align and Distribute. You need to do this before you do the color sort, because otherwise it's all in one file. You want to do it when there's 4 of them. So I'm going to go to Align and Distribute, and I am going to say, I think it's center, center, and let's see what it does. Nope, we don't want center, center. Don't do that. Let's see, it must just be center. Let's try that. I'm going to say undo. Undo, there we go. All right, and then make sure we've got all 4, Utility, Align and Distribute. Oh, because it's aligned. We want to be on the Distribute tab. My mistake. Be on the Distribute tab. Sorry, I'm trying to do this too quickly. Center, center, and click Apply. And there we go. You saw them move. And all that does is it gives it a little bit of space in between them. You can see it's got the same amount of space between them. But on this 4th one, I'm going to do this one more time just because I can have this one over more. And that one, if you have the left and the right one all the way over and then do an Align and Distribute, you'll have a little bit more space between them all. So again, I'm just going to close all of these, drag and bring up to the top so that all 4 are selected, and then Utility, Align and Distribute. We're on the Distribute tab, center, center, and click Apply. And you saw that the middle 2 moved over just a bit. So then I've got a little bit more room in between each of these. So this is all good, but we have 20 color stops right now. We can get that down to probably 5. Let's try it. So Utility, wait, got to select them, my mistake. So drag and select so that all 4 are selected. Utility, Color Sort. Don't forget you want to have the same information here that I have, the tolerance at 0, so that you have the same results. And I'm going to click New View. It says it reduced it by 15 color changes. New View, so that I can see them all. And there's that first one with the 4 designs. The second tab has 1 design. Click on this open sign, and we've got all of the placement for the batting, the tack down for the batting, the placement for the main fabric, which are the fabric strips, the border strips, and 1-4 is our tack down of our border strips, and then 1-5 is all of the quilting design. So that worked out super perfectly. I'm going to do a file, save, stitch file as, and let's see, what are we in right now? I'm in the embroidery files. I want to be in the quilting bundle right there. Embroidery files of the quilting. And it is the orange peel. So see, if I save this in the original folder, then later in the year, if we do orange peels again, I've already got it ready. Nice, huh? All right, so I'm going to say orange peel times 4. You could say what hoop size you're on, or you could say the 14-inch. You could say 1/14 times 4, 1/14, so that I know it's the 14-inch size, and times 4 because there's 4 different strips. That's what I've got. So that's what I'm doing. Orange peel 1 times 14 times 4. Save. Whatever will help you to remember what your design is. And then transfer it to your USB stick, or send it Wi-Fi to your machine, and we're ready to do these. It's going to be an easy day. So how are you doing with your goal? I found out there's a gal in our group that is doing, Zelma, I believe it was, is doing the iFit challenge. That's so cool. I love hearing that. So whatever your challenge is, I want to hear about it. Whether it's exercise, eating healthy, working on your craft room, working on projects, whatever it is, something that pushes you to be at your best. I think that that's a really good challenge, and it's fun to always have one each month. So unfortunately, I did not work my challenge last night. My challenge is that Ireland running series. I really want to earn that digital badge. It's just a silly little badge, but it's a goal. But I worked until midnight last night on our center blocks. So I did not get to do my running challenge, but I'm hoping to do it today, especially since we've got an easy day with our inner border. So tell me, keep me inspired. Tell me how you're doing with your goal. And my shirt today is Learn to Dance in the Rain. I think that's what it says. Learn to Dance in the Rain. I added the words. It's a really cute rain boot design. I made this when we were working on spring showers. It's a great shirt. We're not expecting rain today, but I'm wearing this anyway because it's nice and thin, and it says it's going to be warm here today, but we'll see because it's also 15-mile-an-hour winds, and that wind is always pretty cold. Yesterday we actually had hail. It's so weird here, and I know. Anyway, really fun shirt, really cute design. I will add a link underneath this video of where I got the design.